Hello and welcome to the debate. I'm Farooq Patafi. Viewers, Sana Makbul hosts this program regularly, but since she is traveling, this responsibility has come on my shoulder. So today, once again, I'm going to host this show, and today we are going to talk about the political realities of Pakistan. If you remember in the past, whenever we were talking about various variables, I kept on saying that till the time those things don't happen, it will be premature for me to comment on them, particularly when Mian Nawaz Sharif had not returned to the country at that time about his return. Similarly, regarding the date of elections. And finally, we have both those realities before us. Now we know, thanks to the Supreme Court of Pakistan, that the country is going to hold the election on February the 8th, and there's going to be an election throughout the country. Then we also know Mian Nawaz Sharif is not only back, but he is also in the driving seat of his party. Now, there are two more developments which are quite intriguing. Today, MKM delegation met with Mian Nawaz Sharif. And if you, the visuals that you are seeing actually belong to that meeting. And we heard that finally PMLN and MKM are forming an alliance. What exactly is it called? Is it PMLN plus or something else? We don't know. But the alliance has been formed. Then we keep on hearing that GDA perhaps might also actually join this alliance. So this has been an old dream of people, especially from outside Sindh, that there should be a national alliance that can actually rule in Sindh minus People's Party. So then we also saw that Zardari Saab, Asif Ali Zardari, who is the co-chairman of Pakistan People's Party and chairman of Pakistan People's Party parliamentarians, also spoke about this alliance, and he said that such alliances have been formed, but none has been able to displace their party from Sindh, and that is exactly what is going to happen this time also. But we see that finally there is a proof of elections and election activities. Similarly, we kept on complaining that political parties are not introducing their program. So we heard that PMLN has formed a big manifesto committee, and that is going to actually come up with its manifesto and program. But the problem is that all those people who are part of it, minus a few recent additions, are the same people who have been repeatedly coming back to PMLN's cabinets. So the question is, this time, after 2 decades, is there going to be anything different? We are going to talk about all these things and more regarding Pakistan's politics. In order to help us understand these issues in the studio, of course, like always, we are joined by Raja Faisal. Raja Faisal Saab, thank you very much for being part of the program. Then in the studio, we are joined by Saif Jamshed Baryar, who is a political analyst. Thank you very much, sir, for being part of the program. On Skype, we are joined by Khurram Shahzad, who is a journalist and a regular on this show. And then we are also joined by Muhammad Munib Kadir, political analyst and also a lawyer. Thank you very much, sir, for being part of the program. Gentlemen, with your permission, let me start with Khurram Shahzad. Let me ask him about the recent developments and in which direction it seems to be going, especially because political parties keep on talking about level playing field, and there seems to be consistent demand for that. But PMLN, which seems to be dominating the narrative thanks to its coalition with several media houses, seems to be rejecting the prospect. Khurram Sahab, your take on this?
Yes, as you have very rightly said that the PMLN has been dominating the scene, and thanks to their partners in media and thanks to their partners in power corridors. So what we have seen so far is that PMLN is all set to go in elections with their thoughts of leading the game and they are now trying to form alliances with different parties. The parties who have been traditionally partners of the so-called establishment of Pakistan, like MQM, like GDA, and some other parties like BOP in Balochistan. So all these factions are now very much in line with PMLN, and we will see before elections that these alliances will take a final shape. Just today, PMQM delegation came to Lahore and they went to the model town office of PMLN and they met Nawaz Sharif, and then they announced that they will make a formal alliance to contest elections. And following that, the chairperson of Pakistan People's Party, Asif Ali Zardari, he welcomed all those who will contest elections against them in Sindh. So now we have seen that the battle lines are drawn, and the parties are lining up to contest elections in their respective constituencies, and most probably we will be seeing a major alliance led by PMLN. And then there are also reports that some forces in the country are also trying to stage a patch up between Pakistan People's Party and PMLN. And we have seen reports about some wheeling dealing behind the scenes as PMLN is likely to offer an olive branch to PPP, and that is about that they won't
Right.
contest
Khurram
on
Sahib,
major
as we
seats.
progress in the program, we are going to talk about such olive branches as well. But allow me to actually bring in Muneeb Qadir as well. Muneeb Sahib, you have been listening to the commentary so far. The biggest
Yes.
question is these parties seem to be acting as if they are the only parties in the arena. We know that there is a quieter force as well that is called PTI. And while it might be, its chips might be down, but there's always this speculation that they might find a way to power. Now, the question at this moment is, are they going to be part of the election process, as all parties are saying, or is there a possibility that they might get retired hurt through legal or technical knockouts?
Yes, so I think one of the most interesting things is that People's Party has alleged time and again that somehow there's also an unsaid alliance between PMLN and the caretaker government, an allegation which the caretaker government has refuted. But at the same time, People's Party has indicated its willingness to make an alliance and form an alliance with the PTI. Now, I wonder whether that would be wise to try to bring the PTI back into the political fold, because I think that it should not be a very good way of trying to shape up their election policy for People's Party to be, forming alliance with a party which has become, I think, lost a lot of credibility in recent times, particularly in the aftermath to the 9th May incident. So PTI is there, but it's very much in the shadows. You asked me that PMLN and People's Party, they're talking as if they are the only two parties at the center of this electoral drama. And I think that the reason why they feel very confident in their own right is because, minus PTI from the mainstream, they do feel that they are the ones who are calling the shots. And so it's a clash of the titans as far as PMLN and People's Party go, because these were the two parties which dominated the scene when they ousted the PTI government through their vote of no confidence. So now they are both clashing against each other in the run up to the upcoming election. So battle lines, as you know, my co-panelist has also said, battle lines are drawn. And Mr. Asif Ali Zardari today seemed to have indicated his, sportsmanship spirit of saying that may the best man win. In the sense that Mr. Asif Ali Zardari has indicated that he has no issues absolutely with PMLN and MQM coming together and an alliance being formed, because on their own part, People's Party, they sound very confident. They say that the local government election, which just recently happened, went in their
Yeah,
favor
but
with
Muneeb
Barrister
Saab, with due
Murtaza
respect,
Harb.
if he has any concerns, he is not going to say it on television, is he? Muneeb Saab, if he has some genuine concerns, he is not going to come to TV and say it, would he?
What would he say? Could you just repeat
You
the
are saying
question?
that he is actually welcoming the alliance between PMLN and MQM. And my humble submission was, if he has, some concerns regarding that, he is hardly going to raise it on television.
The thing is that, People's Party, there is a bit of a contradiction in what they're saying. on the one hand, they're saying that they're very confident that not only would they be forming a government in Sindh, they also feel that they're going to sweep the elections, at the federal level as well. But at the same time, if they were as confident as they make themselves out to be, why would they be talking about wanting to form an alliance or being willing to form an alliance with the now disgraced PTI? So there is a lot of contradiction there. Somehow, fortunately or unfortunately for the People's Party, PMLN seems, the wind seems to be going in PMLN's direction. And today's announcement of an alliance with MQM only sounds of a bad news that is awaiting People's Party. Let's see.
And as we move forward, we are going to talk about such wins as well. But let me bring in Saif Jamshed Saab. Your take on this, Saif Saab? The biggest question at this moment is that if there is a party that is dislocated or feels it is down, like PTI, it actually follows that such parties end up forming alliances. And there is one party that might be actually signaling that it might be ready, and that is People's Party. Do you see the potential or possibility of an alliance between People's Party and PTI in coming days?
Thank you for having me today on the program, Patafi Saab. Well, I genuinely would like to second you on that because PTI...
I'm questioning. I'm not saying anything.
You're not saying anything, but there was a silent inference on what...
This is something that is being discussed.
If it's an honest question, then the answer would be, as far as I can see, there is a possibility of a potential alliance because I do believe that PTI has been cornered from the political spectrums in the arena, given the top leadership has been in jails. Now, the second-tier leadership, I think that doesn't have that much of political mobilization. The second-tier leadership was more or less of a social mobilization force for the party. So, as soon as maybe things get a little relaxed for the top-tier leadership, there is a potential alliance that I do see for PTI to be happening with People's Party. And simultaneous to this, I'd like to add here.
Can I slightly unpack what you have just said? You very hurriedly actually said something which is quite intriguing, that the second tier or the party is for social mobilization, it is not for winning elections. But we have seen in PTI that second tier, third tier people have actually been elected to public office. In fact, in southern Punjab, because of this Tareen Shah Mahmood Qureshi divide, there was a huge issue of tickets being issued. And then we saw certain people actually contesting independently that was second or third tier workers, and they got elected. Is there a possibility that People's Party might give a ticket to somebody who might be unknown and they might win?
I think, Patafi Saab, that would be contrary to what the policy for People's Party has been. Historically, People's Party has been found to be given tickets to more electables.
No, I'm talking about PTI.
Because you just said People's Party, I got a little confused in that.
I said PTI.
If you're talking about PTI, then I'll be very much clear on it. I think PTI would also be interested to give tickets to maybe electables who have been overshadowed since the past 3-4 years, because one of the main reasons for PTI's political demise was the fact that electables had been disgruntled from the top party leadership. So I see that if maybe the top tier leadership gets a margin of breathing to be back into the political space, they would be renegotiating the political ends with electables more than the second or the third tier leadership. Because the third or the second tier leadership, it's more or less a leadership that has been active on social media, and it has been active in the Jalsa politics.
Yeah, but this is also something that we hear in drawing rooms. And fortunately or unfortunately, we haven't seen any evidence of a party that has actually failed or has collapsed. As you said, PTI's demise, PTI's government has actually died, and that was pushed out of power through a vote of confidence, but we haven't seen any evidence that grassroots level support has gone. We are going to talk about that also. Let me bring in my heavy breather friend, Raja Faisal, who is waiting for his turn. Raja Saab, one question, and that is a very legitimate one. Hypothetically, we can say that PTI might actually give ticket to Khamba and they might win, or then those people can actually form the government. But we have seen that PTI has been very jealously, and especially its chairman, very jealously guarding the rights to the party. So do you think that he would actually allot tickets, or his party would, to anybody who is rather less known and somebody who might be prone to any kind of inducements that they actually change sides? In the past, you have said that party might not actually participate in the election. Your take?
Yeah, party of course will be, I mean, I've never said that they will not be participating in the elections.
I can pull the video clip.
No. I have said that they will be obviously participating in the elections, but not as without Imran Khan. This is what I had said previously, and this is what they want to do, because apparently, if you look at PTI as a political party, of course everything revolves around its leader, its chairman, Imran Khan, and the ideology even revolves around his ideology of PTI, and of course that is what it is all about. That is why when obviously SAF he was highlighting that they might be interested in having a coalition with People's Party. I disagree with it. They will not be going for it. If they go for it, then of course their own vote bank they will disagree with this step taken by the leadership itself. And if we talk about a prominent party of the country, I always consider People's Party being prominent, of course PMLN being prominent, and PTI. They are the national level parties. When you see a national level party before the election joining hands with a regional party, that means that they are showing their weaker side. I mean, PMLN joining hands with MQM for Karachi and the urban Sindh I'm talking about, it means that they have accepted the failures, that they can't cope with it on their own, and that is why they need somebody else's help.
Hang on. There's a reason why they might have gone into this alliance, and GDA as well, and that is that either of these parties are not going to demand ticket share in Punjab, which is not true for People's Party, right? So it doesn't essentially mean that they are weakened. It means that they are so confident that they can add on to their own brand as well.
Yeah, you are you're right about it, but when it comes to obviously Sindh as a province, I mean PMLN always had neglected in terms of politics, electoral politics. Why I say this? If they put extra efforts, I mean they have done a lot in past for Karachi, for urban Sindh I'm talking about. So it is highly possible that if they put on extra efforts in Sindh, they can take seats, and in past they have taken seats. Yeah, they should go for the solo flight. At least, I mean, if they want to join hands with somebody, then that should be after the elections. If they want MQM to join them,
you are discounting PTI's vote and TLP's possible vote in Karachi as well.
Well, that's the point. I mean, that's the point. No, but that's why I'm saying that they have already accepted the defeat. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, I think that is a bit hyperbolic. But let me go back to Khurram Shahzad. Khurram, let us start the second round and let us talk about platforms or manifestos. Do you think that all these parties that are going to contest an election are going to do on the basis of A, their leaders and their appeal, B, some kind of programs which might actually disagree with each other, C, only electables? Your take.
I think they will combine all these three aspects. Especially when Nawaz Sharif is back. So PMLN, we all know that PMLN has been banking on him, and this is perhaps their last trump card. So he's back and he's leading the campaign now. He's leading everything related to PMLN now. He has held talks with the MQM. He is expected to meet more leaders. So yes, they are banking on the leadership of Nawaz Sharif, and then they will talk about their previous projects. They have been talking about their previous projects when Nawaz Sharif was Prime Minister after 2013, and before that, they have been talking about motorways, and they have been talking about CPAC and all other things. But I think the time has changed. If you allow me to say, on just to tell you about a development just happened today. PMLN had offered an online poll on its Twitter account, and they put three parties in the race and asked the social media user to vote for their favorite party. And surprisingly, the poll which was conducted by PMLN was won by PTI, and PMLN had to delete it. So this is just a development of today. So I think these traditional mantras are no more going to sell, and the social media has made its mark, and people are now very much aware. So all the contesting parties will have to face very difficult time. They will have to face difficulties to convince voters who are very much aware now. And
And
I think
speaking of convincing, Khurram Sahab, the biggest question right now is that if they are going to convince the common man, then they'll have to offer some kind of program. Do you think that on anything they can disagree? Because at this moment it seems that Pakistan's problems are such. I mean, on terrorism, is there going to be a party which is going to say we are not going to combat terrorism, or for that matter, economy? Some party that says that we are going to actually retain the SOEs for that matter that are eating up money. Similarly, so many other things. Do you think that there is even room for different programs by each party?
That was I was going to mention. When PMLN will go to people and say that, okay, we had economic policies and we had development policies in this country, and we ruled the we took this country to development. The people will ask them that what did you do in last 16 months of your government? And there was no development in those 16 months. There was inflation, there was hike in dollar price, currency prices, there hike in gold. So every bad thing happened in that tenure. Then they will ask Pakistan People's Party what they have done in their tenure. They successfully launched a no confidence move. They were successful in toppling a government, but what did they do after that? So
And PTI,
I don't think their
PTI,
economic policies.
the same answers, then they will rather not vote at all.
No, they will definitely vote, but they will vote for I think for their other parties they like. I mean, I'm not ruling out that PMLN will not get votes. Of course, we are seeing that there is an atmosphere in their favor, and of course, People's Party has a strong hold in Sindh. They will be getting votes, but it is very difficult this time to win elections. I mean, the challenging times are ahead for every party.
Right. Muneeb, I know that at this moment you are wearing the hat of a political analyst, but I wanted you to actually don the hat of a legal expert as well. And I wanted you to tell me, because earlier I asked that question, but you actually explored the political side of it. Do you see any possibility in coming days in the way of PTI of a technical knockout?
I believe the biggest technical knockout and potential for the biggest technical knockout there is the fact that there are so many cases against Imran Khan, who, as my co-panelist Mr. Raja Faisal said, is the main person, is the focal person within PTI. And if he's not there, then PTI is just not there. And then it's not just about PTI, but their key members, either they have defected, and even after defection, they are facing trials like Fawad Chaudhry. And then those few who have remained in PTI within the top tier of PTI's leadership, they are all in jail or they are facing multiple trials. So what bigger legal knockout could there be? When People's Party says that they would form.
Hang on,
Yes.
hang on, sir. You're talking about electables being not actually them not actually participating in election. That doesn't mean
Yes.
that voter is stopped. Till the time party is on the ballot paper, there will always be a chance for the party, no?
No, not quite, because PTI, unfortunately, it was led by this cult of personality politics. And when the main man is behind bars, and the last that I checked, he was even disqualified from contesting election or holding public office for another 5 years. How much of a chance does this party with its fringe members hold. I think that when People's Party says that they aim to form an alliance with PTI, they are only trying to take advantage of a party which is already almost crumbled to dust. That okay, fine, we might need a few more seats to form a government and to have a majority. So perhaps in that gap and that void could be filled for the People's Party by the PTI's remaining members. But that's it. PTI is now not a front runner in the election. And it has everything to do with the law. It has everything to do with the legal battles that PTI is faced with. They're not just battles. I mean, they are lost battles almost. It's legal predicaments, one after the other. And so I believe that PTI is not in the political fold anymore.
Right. So I'm going to deduce also that you don't see any blanket ban on the party in coming days, right?
No, no, not that. But like I said, that they have been disgraced. Their reputation and credibility has suffered a lot.
Right, and that is quite intriguing. Your take on this, Afsab, do you want to actually add something here?
I would just like to add that a complete blanket ban isn't really possible, because many a times we've seen far worse in the political history of the country. We've seen many parties totally getting isolated, even in their legal battles, but they have been recovering in the political arenas, because maybe that's what the beauty of democracy is.
Right. Regarding the declaration of demise of PTI, there are two things that are quite interesting in our history. One, 2004, we saw that, no, actually 2002, we saw the MMA. Their candidates were so unknown that even their own leaders did not know which candidate is running, and yet they succeeded. Similarly, in 2007, when Mian Nawaz Sharif came back to the country, at that time everybody was saying that People's Party is going to win, and in Punjab they did not even submit the correct number of female candidates because they thought that they are not going to get the kind of seats. And yet, even people who hardly had any sway on electorate, they won in the province of Punjab. So why would you think that backbenchers or unknowns cannot actually run? I think,
Farooq Saab, the problem is that back in 2002 and 2004, it was a very different, in 2007, it was a very different political atmosphere altogether. You're living in the world of social media right now. And one particular political party known as the PTI, it is known to be having a leadership of maybe a cult style, a style where certain...
Can you name a party which is not a cult?
I think Jamaat-e-Islami is a political party that is not a cult. There you go.
Thank you very much. You are talking about the most cultish party of the country and they are calling it not a cult.
I would beg to differ, Farooq Saab, because I think there used to be a leader, Qazi Hussain Ahmed. He came to the party. Then he
was not the founder of the party.
He was not the founder of the party, but there was another leader then who came in. Then there's Sirajul-Haq, he's here. Liaquat Baloch was here. Then you need to be...
Liaquat Baloch was never president.
Liaquat Baloch was a student leader, and the way he escalated to the top margins of the party, that is something very well known. Now, if you statistically talk about one party that has been giving margins of political leadership to common people, I think that is Jamaat-e-Islami in this country.
Okay, well, we can actually go into that direction as well, but my question still remains. When you were saying that PTI is a cultish party, my humble submission was that all these parties essentially have one leader at the top or one family at the top, and then you can actually say more or less the same thing about every party. Why would you actually only discount one party as a cultish?
There's a difference, Farooq Saab. When People's Party does come into power, we've seen Yusuf Raza Gilani taking the top seat in the country. We've seen
Raja Pervez Bhutto was assassinated.
No. I think that would not be...
The party was still finding its cohesion.
All right. The party was finding its cohesion, but even after that, even after Yusuf Raza Gilani was dismissed by the court, then came another Prime Minister, Raja Pervez Ashraf. We do know that common people, or maybe people who began with the second tier actually, came to the top seats of the country.
Hang on. You know why he was nominated? First it was, somebody, Qamar Zaman Khaira, who was being nominated. Then they realized that Iftikhar Chaudhary might disqualify him as well. So
that's a legal debate.
They actually ended up with a person that they did not worry about, that he can be disqualified. But if you want to see their cult style politics, look at politics of Sindh, where leaders don't change.
True. That is something that is unfortunately a reality. It is. I think cult would be a bit inappropriate. Let's call it the feudalistic style. Let's call it the feudalistic style.
Yeah, that is your choice to actually.
Let's call
tomato,
it
tomato. But the fact is that all political parties are one-man show.
So what do you propose?
No, this is my humble summation that you keep everybody. There are 2 or 3 things that I have serious objection to. One, the times have changed. Social media has made people aware. Is there any evidence that people were not aware before that? Because I think every time votes were held, people showed their their wisdom, right? Secondly, if you are active on social media, does not mean that you are not on grassroots level. And the third one is this, that one particular party is cultish, the others are not. Will you disagree with
I would like to disagree on the part where you said that maybe because of the awareness of social media, things have been very different. I would beg to differ. Because of social media, things have gone in the opposite direction. There's a huge demographic dividend, that is the young voting base, and they are more misinformed than being informed right now, and they'll be dominating
I'm sorry. Another generalization. You know, the hobby horse of this country and the most favorite, your whipping boy in this country is Generation Z or Generation Y, because everybody, especially the people who are at the top, and they are essentially boomers, they keep on saying that, this lot doesn't have any brains. It has been happening with Generation X, my generation.
I was about
as
to come
well,
towards that.
Yeah. So never actually generalize that these people don't know what they are.
No, I didn't say I'm not generalizing, Pratapi sir. What I'm saying is maybe
you're kernelizing.
No.
Okay, allow me to actually bring in Rajat Faisal. Rajat Faisal also. Rajat Faisal, your take on this, sir.
Yeah, Farooq bhai, if I be very honest, my honest opinion is that the time we are going through, majority of the votes in Pakistan, they are millennials and post-millennials, and the way they think about things, that is entirely differently. They are, number one, anti-hereditary politics. They don't like it at all, and they are
now you are actually putting your words in their mouth.
Yeah, no. I'm not putting my words into anyone's mouth.
I ask you to actually praise them or evaluate them, not to actually color them in their own color.
Yeah, when the cult word is used for them, well, I do agree to certain extent about a segment, a very tiny segment of
every party,
that followers of every party, I would say.
Thank you.
It is cult. It is cult, and this should be discouraged in every political party, and these kind of people, they should not be hailed, and same goes out for PTI and rest of the parties at large. When we talk about Pakistan, for Pakistan, I want the best. I want the best in terms that the brains of this country, they should be coming forward, and a structure of leadership within the parties, that should be obviously introduced. I'm not saying that only in Jamaat-e-Islami or PTI. It should be within People's Party as well as PMLN.
Thank you very much for clubbing the first two together, because that is also quite an interesting phenomenon, right? But again, Khurram Saab, regarding how the political parties are going, do we have any timeline when we are going to see their manifestos or programs being introduced? Similarly, party tickets or candidature, especially because the constituency definition is just happening right now, and I think it is about to conclude in coming days. So are we going to see tickets being handed out immediately after that?
I think the parties will take their time to decide about tickets, and they will not announce it very soon. At least they will wait until the final schedule comes out by the Election Commission of Pakistan, because the two leading parties are facing challenges on these tickets thing. The PMLN is facing challenge of having too many candidates, and the possibilities of winning elections are not confirmed for any of them. And then PTI is facing challenge
too many
of
candidates but no votes.
Sorry,
too many candidates but no votes.
I mean, yes,
Faisal
we
Saab is
get
the only voter in this country. So if he doesn't vote for you, you don't get any votes. Faisal Saab, go ahead.
Because I mean, if you allow me to say, is that people are running to get tickets of PMLN because this is King's party this time, and they are hoping to win election with the support of the establishment and with the support of King's party. But then we have to see the ground realities. So the PMLN must be very choosy and selective about awarding tickets, and they will. I mean, if they are wise enough, they will assess everything on the ground. And secondly, PTI, which is facing challenge of giving tickets to somebody who can stand the ground, because we all know that PTI candidates will not be allowed to campaign freely and to contest elections freely. And anybody who will get PTI tickets and who will show will to contest election on the behalf of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, he will be facing the consequences, and he will not having an easy time. He will having too much challenges, including the challenges to run his campaign, to contest elections, and even security challenges. So I don't think they are going to decide on tickets anytime soon. They will take their time, and we will see it see it happening just before the final campaign round starts.
Right. Muneeb Saab, the question about programs is also important because somehow we had started thinking that perhaps we have evolved to the level where we might see some kind of focus on manifestos. It hardly happens, but we kept on hearing, especially when PTI was coming to power, that they have a manifesto and they have made promises. Initially, they started a ticker also, some kind of clock to actually measure what kind of achievements they have done, and eventually they had to abandon that because they could not have met most of it. But do you think that we are actually moving towards a time when there is going to be more focus on what is promised rather than who is promising it?
Absolutely. I think now that the elections are nearing and the 8th February date, after a lot of tug of war between all the sides, has finally been announced last week. So 8th February 2024 date is approaching. I think now the focus should be and would be on the respective programs, manifestos of all the parties who are contesting the election and who are vying for that top position. But also, I don't believe that the substance or the content of those manifestos could be very different from one another. It's because, the talking points are very similar, be that PMLN or People's Party. They're all talking about countering inflation. They don't have much to show for it in the last 16 months or so. They're talking about reviving the economy. They're also talking about tackling Pakistan's rising extremist terrorist threat. So all those talking points are very common. Now, I can contrast that with the 2018 election when PTI was, leading the way. And PTI's manifesto was not just focused on an economic plan or, social or economic agendas or the legislative agenda, but the focus was also a lot on, religious aspects. That was a very, I believe, central part of Imran Khan and PTI's politics. And I don't see much religious rhetoric here. What I see here is, all the parties talking about their foreign relations, talking about, regional security, talking about CPEC and in foreign investment and economic revival, etc. So I really think that it's going to be a show of strength rather than, a war of narratives as far as the manifesto goes. I don't see the scope for culture wars being played out this time around the way that they were in 2018 election.
Absolutely. But with due respect regarding this now actually seems to be, sounds like a confession, but at least when it comes to 2018 elections, I voted based on that manifesto and I ended up voting for PTI. So that is one thing. But the second aspect is that programs can also have layers. The first thing, of course, you are talking about what to do, and their focus is more or less going to be the same. But then comes the issue of how to do it. And there are certain programs which actually introduce that element also. And the third one, of course, is who is going to do it. That means look at our credentials. And that bit is one thing that PMLN actually has mastered. So do you think that there is a possibility of focus on the second aspect as well, Muneeb Saab?
There could be, if the government turns out to be a stable one, if it's not a hung parliament that we end up with, and if they do come in with a good majority, I do think that the focus could then shift on delivering. And you know, a lot of people say, and a lot of PMLN detractors and critics say that PMLN has nothing to show for the PDM government that they were in power for. But you know, they would say that there is a renewed vigor within PMLN now that Mia Nawaz Sharif has returned and he has delivered earlier as well. He can do it even better this time. Now, I understand that is all rhetoric, but I do believe that, you know, with a lot of legal hurdles out of Mia Nawaz Sharif's way and with a stable PMLN government, perhaps, there could be that stage that they could reach where they would be delivering on their promises. Again, you know, time is
essentially
the
before
going to
election, Munib Saab, there's going to be focus on point A, what needs to be done, and C or 3, that is who is going to do it, and how is something that will be kept out of manifestos. Allow me to actually take the same question to say, Saif Jamshed Saab, your take on this question, the programs.
Farooq Saab, I believe that currently I think we are discussing about manifestos, and but the realities of the election, they are very different. Now, maybe it seems like PMLN might become a powerhouse of political mobilization and vote taking in the next elections, but you can differ with me as much as you wish to. But I believe there will be a multi-party government.
I'm not going to disagree with you, but I have a follow-up question for you.
Sure, I believe there will be a multi-party government, and in that maybe particular party manifestos and agendas are overridden, and they are sort of overcrowded by local agendas as well.
May I ask you, why do we do this? And I'm talking about Pakistan's pundits, Pakistan's media.
Right.
We keep on underplaying impact of certain things. For example, when you talk about books, the entire world is reading books, but we keep on saying that there is no culture of reading books anymore. Millions and millions of books are being published, and people read them. Similarly, when you talk about manifestos, it is essentially an honest conversation between a voter and a political party. Why do we underplay these things?
I think, Farooq Saab, democracy goes well along with awareness and education. And to achieve that, I think literacy is very paramount. And
America, 33% of America's population is not very literate. That doesn't mean that the quality of democracy.
But then again, we saw what happened to the American democracy back during Donald Trump's time. We saw Brexit as well, Patafi Saab.
That was a blip. I mean, you can talk about exceptions, but I'm
Brexit
talking about as a rule.
Yeah, we saw Brexit as
centuries.
well. Yeah, maybe we saw Brexit as well, Patafi Saab, where maybe the Western European countries have been thought to be the centers of civility and politics in the world, and when after Brexit, particular segments were disagreeing as well to what really
Brexit
happened.
will contradict your assumption, because UK is a fairly educated society.
That is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but that is a different kind of direction. Faisal Saab, when we are holding everything, accountable, everyone accountable, let us talk about your and my profession as well. Why do you think that political media lacks the capacity to evaluate these nuances in political discourse? And secondly, why is it that so many of our own colleagues in various channels or papers have started behaving as if they are enforcers of various political parties?
Exactly, and Farooq, this is highly unfortunate. Whenever I go through, obviously, the talk shows, random talk shows of the private media sectors, what I sense is that they are not looking after some tangible solutions to the problem. Rather, they want to increase the existing problems in terms that they want some kind of debate within their shows, in which, of course, there is some controversy that is being generated, and that is discussed on social media.
And that is an amazing answer. I just, for the viewers' sake, I just want to actually point out a sleight of hand. When the answer began, from media it became TV. And then it became talk shows. We are not merely talking about that. We are talking about the entirety of the whole media landscape.
Whole media landscape we're talking about. But I'm just talking about, obviously, every evening, the busiest hours of a person sitting with a cup after the office hours. He's sitting on the sofa with the cup of tea. He's just watching all of these shows.
Do you do that?
No, I don't do it. Because I have to come here later on.
Who does?
Everyone does.
They don't watch dramas, they don't watch sports, they don't watch anything else. They watch these talk shows.
And even on social media, trends are being generated from the talk shows, Farrukh. That's what I'm trying to say.
And second bit,
very sadly,
enforcers.
Yeah.
Enforcers.
Very sadly, Farrukh, while we were highlighting, even in today's show, while we were highlighting the attitude of the political parties, the very first thing which we were supposed to do was talk about their manifestos. We did not do it. We did it right at the end. In a political party,
half of the program was spent on discussing manifestos.
yeah,
Come on.
in a political party, the first and foremost thing which should be inquired about is their manifesto. What do they have in their mind?
Again, I'm told that we have run out of time and we have to conclude. But another sleight of hand, because you got carried away and you were talking about something else. That question about media men or women behaving as political parties and forces was left somewhere. So someday we are going to talk about that as well. But at this moment, let me thank all the guests, including you, Raja Faisal Saab. Although you are not a guest, you are permanent fixture. But let me thank you as well. Khurram Shahzad, thank you very much for being part of the program. Mohammad Munib Qadir, thank you very much for your precious time. And Saif Jamshed Bariyar Saab, thank you very much for your time and joining us in the studio. Viewers, you have listened to our participants. We have to conclude the program here. But one thing is for sure, you can expect a lot of healthy debate if media starts behaving in an honest manner, where it is not trying to actually spin things, but inform you. That bit, unfortunately, is lacking right now. And that's why the intellectual class, who are pundits of the country, sit on television and tell you that intellect doesn't matter in politics. This was today's program. Thank you very much for watching. Take care.